I know now that the Lord led me to write that book. I didn't know it at the time, but I know that the Lord led me to write the Bonhoeffer book as a prophetic warning to the American church. Now, what happened in those days? What happened was the church in Germany was persuaded to be silent in the face of evil. Many good pastors and good Christians believed, they said, Romans 13, we can't get involved in politics, we cannot speak against the evil, we just want to preach the gospel. Now, that is theologically nonsense. It is wrong to say, I just want to preach the gospel. If you do not speak up when you see injustice, what thin, useless gospel do you think they're going to allow you to preach?
Come on, that'll preach.
And I have to say, that very message is being spoken from pulpits around the country today. So I wrote my new book, which is called Letter to the American Church, to speak against this idea. Because this idea is in pulpits and in congregations across America. Don't be political. Don't talk about this. Don't talk about that. Folks, if you don't talk about injustice, if you don't raise your voice and speak, why would I even believe you have faith in Jesus? Why would I think you care about the unborn, you care about those who are suffering? If you care about other people as the Lord commands you to do, you will speak against injustice, as Wilberforce spoke against injustice toward the slaves, as Bonhoeffer spoke up. Many in the American church have been persuaded, no, we're not going to talk about anything. We just want to preach the gospel. That's a lie from the pit of hell, and we need to understand that.
All right, so, yeah, let him know. That's good. And this book is just about to release, is that correct?
That book will release in, I guess, 3 or 4 days. It's coming out. Letter to the American Church, yeah.
Letter to the American Church. I like this quote at the top from Erwin Lutzer. Any of you guys that follow them. This book is like a bucket of cold water thrown in the face of a sleeping church. So, Eric, how can people find out more about the book?
Well, I would say the best thing is please go to my website. If you can spell my name, ericmetaxas.com. If you go to ericmetaxas.com, you can find the book there. I'll be signing copies here tomorrow. But I feel a burning passion that the reason we are in these straits today is because of the silence of the church. There is no question about it. And there are many people, good people, that have been deceived. And it is our job with the love of Jesus to get them to understand, no, the Lord requires you to speak loudly and boldly against the injustice, against the lies, against the madness. There's every kind of madness. If you in the church are afraid to speak, what do you think non-believers will think of you? You're supposed to be fearless. You're supposed to believe Jesus defeated death on the cross. He's deputized you to be his voice, and I believe that's the Lord's call to the church. Amen. All of these things, they are overplaying their hand in a way that is playing into the Lord's will, because it is waking up those who are sleeping. Amen. And anyone, we have to listen. In America, we have the freedom to call that speech what it was. It was a despicable, anti-American speech. Utterly despicable. It was shameful. Yeah. And the entire, everything about it was an insult to those who have died for liberty in this nation. And we still have the freedom to say what I just said. But if you do not say these things and do not do everything you possibly can to preserve the freedom that we have, to exercise your freedom with fearlessness, as you should as a believer, if you don't do that, it goes away. So I just want to say, I do believe believers and non-believers are waking up in a way because of the preposterousness, the idiocy, the vulgarity that is being displayed almost every day by these misleaders around our country.
I went to over in the corner and I grabbed a flag we had and I wrapped it around me and I laid on the floor and I sobbed and I knew I was crying with him. I knew we were crying together for this nation, Gene. And it became so intense that at one point I said, and I meant this. This was not hype, or I'm not trying to be sensational here. I said, God, please, you have to stop this. Because my heart is literally going to break and I'm going to die. And I said, please don't kill me. Now, sometimes you just get in a situation, you think God may not know what he's doing, But I was afraid. I was hurting here. I thought my heart is going to break. I'm going to die. So for 3.5 hours this happened, and here's what he said to me at one point. And I know this was God. And I could never, ever, ever be convinced this wasn't God. He said, I must have this nation. I must have this nation back. And this is what he said. For what I'm going to do in this hour, in the nations of the earth, the harvest that I am going to reap, I must have this nation.